What is so mysterious about certain ancient texts that they seem to have been carefully shielded from the eyes of the world? The Ethiopian Bible is one of these relics. Preserved by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, this version of the sacred text includes books that were forgotten or deliberately excluded from the Western canon. Works like the Book of Enoch, the Book of Baruch, and the Ascension of Isaiah contain captivating visions, apocalyptic revelations, and dark secrets about fallen angels, spiritual struggle, and humanity's ultimate fate. Going far beyond conventional doctrines, these books form a connection to an ancient knowledge that few have dared to explore deeply, challenging common understanding of the sacred. But why were these texts, which speak of hidden forces and forbidden knowledge, left out of Western Christianity? What kind of revelations do they contain that would make them considered dangerous to conventional faith? Among the writings preserved in the Ethiopian Bible, the Book of Enoch stands out as one of the most enigmatic and thought-provoking. This ancient manuscript offers an apocalyptic vision of humanity's fate, the power of angels, and the secrets of creation. So disturbing are its accounts that, in the West, the text was classified as apocryphal and relegated to obscurity. Enoch, a forefather of Noah, is described as a man who walked so closely with God that he transcended death. But it wasn't his elevation that made him notable. It was the mysteries he recorded, visions of realities beyond our world, where celestial forces intertwine with human destiny in a battle for salvation and the purity of creation. In one of its most obscure passages, the Book of Enoch introduces the Watchers, angels whose mission was to observe and protect humanity. However, these celestial beings ultimately succumbed to earthly pleasures. Not only did they give in to worldly passions, but they also shared forbidden knowledge with humans. Astrology, alchemy, weaponry, and the practice of magic were taught to humans by these fallen angels, challenging divine order and causing consequences that would echo throughout history. The rebellion of the Watchers represents not just a behavioral deviation, it's a rupture between the realms of creation and destruction. The teaching of this forbidden knowledge generated a new lineage, the Nephilim, giants symbolizing the complete corruption of the sacred. Endowed with superhuman strength and a corrupted spirit, these beings influenced humanity in unimaginable ways, becoming a dangerous and imposing presence among mortals. The original mission of the Watchers, to guard the harmony between the sacred and the human, transformed into a nightmare that would result in severe punishment. Enoch then emerges as the bearer of warnings and judgments for these angels. He doesn't just observe but witnesses the judgment against the Watchers and predicts an apocalyptic fate for their corrupted descendants. Enoch narrates, in rich detail, visions of imprisoned, corrupted, and condemned angels. The dark and deep caverns where the Watchers were imprisoned, awaiting final judgment, become symbols of the inevitable fate for those who defy divine laws. This vision of divine punishment, recorded by Enoch, reveals a sacred control over the forces of evil and the inevitability of a cosmic reckoning. The Book of Enoch, in describing these scenes, is not merely a warning. It suggests that there are vigilant forces that, though invisible, are ever watchful over the deviations of creation. One intriguing aspect of the Book of Enoch is that it's cited in the New Testament, specifically in the Epistle of Jude. This indicates that, among the earliest Christians, its content was considered relevant. But what motivated its banishment from the Western scriptures? Could these revelations about the power and corruption of angels have been subversive enough to threaten the dogmatic structure consolidating within the church? For the Ethiopian tradition, Enoch's accounts were too valuable to silence. The book, with its mystical and apocalyptic content, is preserved as a warning and a legacy of spiritual teachings that must not be forgotten. Simultaneously, the Book of Enoch describes events of cosmic magnitude, where every angel, creature, and force is interconnected by an invisible purpose. Enoch records the moment when heavenly harmony is broken by the choice of the Watchers, and the impact of this break reverberates through time. This is a vision of the universe as a spiritual battlefield, where knowledge, magic, and faith itself are put to the test. Enoch emerges as a figure of great importance, serving as the mediator and chronicler of this conflict, recording for eternity the secrets that reveal creation's fragility in the face of unseen forces. The inclusion of Enoch in the Ethiopian Bible is not merely a matter of spiritual curation, but an affirmation that the Ethiopian people recognize the duality that permeates the world: light and shadow, knowledge and ignorance, sacred and profane. Unlike the West, which chose to omit these narratives, the Ethiopian Church has integrated the Book of Enoch as a jewel of wisdom, a source that calls for spiritual vigilance and respect for divine laws. For Ethiopians, These revelations are not merely ancient stories, but a guide for understanding the forces that operate beyond the physical world. But what makes these secrets so powerful? The Book of Enoch is not just a historical record. It carries a mystery that resonates with a unique energy, addressing themes that continue to unsettle spiritual seekers. This is a book that challenges human perception of the sacred and the profane, revealing that the line between the two is thin and that, once crossed, the consequences are inevitable and irreversible. For the ancient Ethiopians, preserving this knowledge was not an arbitrary choice but an act of reverence for ancestral wisdom. For students of the occult, the Book of Enoch is a key to profound knowledge, a passage to a higher understanding that, for obscure reasons, was lost over time. Yet this same key, in the wrong hands, could open undesirable doors. However, for those who seek the truth with a pure heart, Enoch's secrets represent enlightenment, a kind of wisdom that only those with unwavering faith can attain. This faith, which has sustained the Ethiopian Church since its foundation, makes the Ethiopian Bible and the Book of Enoch a bridge between the material world and the realm of divine mysteries. As we read the Book of Enoch, we are led to an inevitable question. How far are we willing to go in our search for truth, even when it exposes the dark side of creation? This is the dilemma Enoch presents us, a mystery that remains alive for those who dare to decipher the hidden words of the Book of Watchers. This ancient revelation, preserved by the Ethiopian Church, resonates with a depth few are prepared to confront. After all, what would humanity have become had it received the forbidden knowledge of the fallen angels? The answer to this mystery may well remain hidden, safeguarded in the shadows of history. Within the texts preserved by the Ethiopian Bible, two books reveal profound mysteries about suffering, spiritual resilience, and forces operating beyond the physical world. The Book of Baruch and the Ascension of Isaiah. Both ignored by the Western canon, these texts go beyond mere accounts of faith. They open a window to hidden knowledge that illuminates the soul and challenges common understanding. The Book of Baruch, written in a time of desolation, and the Ascension of Isaiah, with its apocalyptic visions, speak to the depths of consciousness, reminding us that the sacred and the profane coexist, walking side by side. Baruch, the faithful scribe and confidant of the prophet Jeremiah, offers a dark vision of Israel's spiritual exile. Amidst the chaos and destruction of Jerusalem, the Book of Baruch echoes the laments of a wounded people, yet it also reveals itself as a secret song of resilience. It is not a simple historical record. Between the lines emerges a call for a mystical rebirth, an invitation for the human spirit to rise above material ruin. In essence, this book transforms into a spiritual talisman for the soul in exile, offering veiled instructions to those seeking to transcend suffering and find hidden strengths capable of guiding them through darkness. Might this work, beyond a record of faith, also serve as a guide for the soul in search of meaning? Baruch's teaching is complex and profound, yet for those with a discerning eye, clarity can be found. Exile transcends the physical and extends to the spiritual. The true punishment for him is the rupture between the human and the divine, a disconnection between inner light and the greater purpose of existence. In his words, Baruch guides seekers, offering a path to restore the bond with the sacred. He speaks of purification, repentance, and the need to strengthen the spirit, for according to him, only a purified soul can bear the weight of exile. This exile, then, becomes a rite of passage, a necessary stage for the redemption of those who still keep the spark of the divine within themselves. The Ascension of Isaiah, on the other hand, plunges into an even more mystical atmosphere, revealing a journey that surpasses the limits of earthly existence. Isaiah, the visionary prophet, is taken up to the heavens, where he witnesses the hierarchical orders of the universe and traverses each heavenly realm up to the divine throne. In his vision, Isaiah not only beholds the Creator, he witnesses the manifestation of the Son of God and the eternal struggle between light and darkness. Each sphere he crosses is inhabited by celestial beings who guard deep secrets about creation and the fate of the righteous and the wicked. Unlike other prophets, Isaiah sees that not all will attain glory, revealing that some are destined to remain in oblivion. What spiritual weight does this vision carry if not a warning about the path we choose to follow? In the Ascension, Isaiah is also exposed to the mystery of the fall of the angels and the fate reserved for those who stray from their divine purpose. At the core of this ascension, he discovers that the end of times will bring not only judgment but also the revelation of hidden truths, accessible only to those of true faith. For the Ethiopian tradition, this book is a sacred manual, teaching the path of purity and righteousness. Inspiring spiritual seekers, Its narrative reminds us that the road to the divine requires courage and determination, for the secrets Isaiah discovers are not meant for the faint of heart. Baruch and Isaiah share an essential theme: the idea of resistance in the face of chaos, whether external or internal. Baruch emphasizes the need for a spiritual refuge, while Isaiah presents the vision of a cosmic ascent, where the spirit must elevate itself to find its true place in the universe. Together, these texts form an alliance between suffering and transcendence, revealing that to achieve redemption, it is essential to understand and overcome internal shadows. Physical exile is only one part of the trial. The true exile is the loss of contact with the divine purpose, and it is this connection that both texts seek to restore. Another fascinating aspect of these works is the role of angels, sometimes as guardians, other times as agents of judgment. In the Ascension of Isaiah, angels appear as beings of immense power, guarding the heavenly realms and keeping secrets that humanity is not meant to know. Isaiah witnesses the angels' dominion over the destinies of souls, discovering that they direct the path of those who seek the divine. This idea, that celestial forces shape human destiny, is constant in these texts, suggesting that access to such secrets is reserved for the pure of heart. What could be the true meaning of this privilege? In the book of Baruch, in turn, we find the importance of prophets as bridges between the human and the divine. Baruch's lament is a mirror of exile, reflecting the search of those who wish to reconnect with the Creator. His words carry a meaning that transcends immediate suffering. It becomes an initiation into the understanding of eternal purpose. From Baruch, we learn that the path to the divine is filled with trials, and true spiritual power is achieved only after overcoming the soul's exile. For the Ethiopian people, these texts go beyond mere accounts. They have become spiritual guides in times of exile and uncertainty. The Ethiopian Bible preserves these works as testimonies to the power of faith and the need for spiritual resistance capable of transcending physical suffering. Unlike the West, which relegated such texts to oblivion, the Ethiopian tradition views them as spiritual jewels, believing that exile and the quest for the divine must be understood in their deepest essence. These teachings reveal that, although the righteous face great trials, the divine always offers a way back, as long as the spirit is prepared to face its own hidden mysteries. The Ascension of Isaiah and the Book of Baruch are more than records of a distant era. They are portals to hidden knowledge that invite the reader to enter the unknown. For occultists and esoteric scholars, these works serve as guides on mystical endurance, spiritual ascension, and communion with the divine. The attentive reader feels transported to another dimension, as if each line were a key unlocking doors to the profound mysteries of the universe. In exploring these works, an unsettling question arises. How prepared are we to confront the truth about our own spiritual exile? Baruch and Isaiah teach us that the path to self-knowledge and elevation is arduous, but only those who face suffering with courage achieve awakening. The lesson that remains is eternal. There are secrets in exile and revelations in ascension, and both are part of a journey that transcends time and space. At the heart of the sacred texts in the Ethiopian Bible lies the Kebre Nagast, a book that transcends the role of mere religious scripture. Known as the Glory of Kings, this text represents both a mystical revelation and a sacred lineage that connects Ethiopia to the hidden power of Solomon and the profound mystery of the Ark of the Covenant. Over the centuries, the Kebre Nagast has served not only as a spiritual foundation for the Ethiopian people but also as a manifesto of identity and resistance, grounding its roots in a sacred covenant with the divine. Unlike Western biblical accounts, which briefly describe the Queen of Sheba's visit to Solomon, the Kebre Nagast unveils a richer and more esoteric story. In this text, the encounter between the Queen of Sheba and the King of Israel is not merely a cultural exchange. It symbolizes a union destined to birth a special lineage marked by royal blood and a spiritual connection inherited directly from Solomon. From this union is born Menelik, who carries a secret mission, forever changing Ethiopia's destiny and symbolizing a spiritual heritage of power and wisdom. But what deep meaning does this sacred lineage hold? As an adult, Menelik is drawn to Jerusalem, where he becomes aware of his royal and spiritual heritage. During this journey, according to the Kebre Nagast, he receives from his father something of inestimable value, the Ark of the Covenant. This object, containing the tablets of the Ten Commandments, Aaron's rod, and manna, is the ultimate symbol of divine presence on earth and one of the most sacred artifacts in the Jewish tradition. However, the Kebre Nagast reveals that Menelik, upon returning to Ethiopia, takes the Ark with him, transforming the Ethiopian land into a new spiritual center, a new Jerusalem shielded from the world. Could this act signify a transfer of spiritual power to Ethiopia? For the Ethiopian tradition, the Ark is much more than an object. It symbolizes the eternal covenant between the Ethiopian people and the Creator. In the Kebra Nagast, Menelik's true purpose with the Ark is to establish Ethiopia as a guardian nation of the sacred, where divine power can remain untouched and secure. While the West views the Ark as an archaeological mystery, for the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, it is a living presence, kept in secret in the city of Aksum under the watch of sacred guardians. These guardians dedicate their lives to caring for the Ark, living in complete isolation and practicing rigorous devotion, never abandoning their post or revealing the secret to curious eyes. What meaning lies in such absolute dedication? The mystery of the Ark is so profound that, according to belief, only the chosen guardian has the privilege of seeing it. It is said that the Ark holds a divine energy that, beyond blessing, also protects the nation from external threats. The guardian is viewed as an initiate, someone who has passed through the veil between human and divine and who has the capacity to handle the mystical power the Ark holds. For Ethiopians, the Ark contains the very spirit of the Creator, a power that goes beyond human comprehension and can only be managed by those of pure heart and sacred intention. For the Ethiopian people, the Kebra Nagast stands as a testament that Solomon's lineage was chosen to maintain a sacred connection with the divine. Menelik's lineage carries not only Solomon's royal blood but also a spiritual responsibility that transcends earthly power. In moments of crisis, this spiritual lineage supports the Ethiopian people, reaffirming that they are a people destined to guard a sacred secret that withstands the test of time. In essence, the Kebra Nagast invites introspection into the hidden power of spiritual realms and the invisible forces guiding the destiny of those who follow the path of true faith. However, the fact that the Ark was brought from Israel to Ethiopia raises questions about the spiritual destiny of both nations. To some, this suggests that the divine covenant expanded to include the Ethiopian people. To others, it implies that Israel now shares its spiritual destiny with Ethiopia. This mystical transition is deeply significant. The Ark of the Covenant, a symbol of supernatural and spiritual power, remains hidden on a continent often underestimated by Western traditions, symbolizing the resistance and preservation of a sacred truth that challenges traditional parameters of faith and power. The Ark's presence in Ethiopia is more than a secret of faith. It also challenges Western understanding of religious centrality. For Ethiopian tradition, the greatest mystery is this: how the Creator chose Ethiopia as the guardian of the Ark and Solomon's lineage, elevating the country to a position of spiritual prominence. This choice implies that the sacred transcends borders and that the true essence of the divine can be found in unexpected places, far from religious centers of power. Thus, the Ark becomes a link between two worlds, the visible and invisible, east and west, the known and the hidden. Its power is believed to protect the nation and those who approach it with a pure heart. Yet, despite its blessing, it also carries danger. Surrounded by mysteries and potent energies, few dare to approach without proper spiritual preparation. For Ethiopians, the Ark is more than a symbol. It is a constant reminder of divine vigilance and the responsibility to honor the sacred. Historically, the Kebra Nagast has consolidated Ethiopian spiritual identity, upholding the belief that they possess a divine heritage connecting them to a unique spiritual destiny. For centuries, the presence of the Ark has reinforced national unity, as belief in its power and protection against invaders solidified a sense of national identity. This text represents not only a sacred book but a spiritual and cultural manifesto that remains alive in the soul of the Ethiopian people, a truth resonating through the ages. This enigmatic narrative makes the Kebra Nagast not merely a part of the Ethiopian Bible but a symbol of hidden wisdom that endures. After all, what does it mean for a people to harbor the greatest artifact of Judaism, an object that supposedly holds secrets about the divine essence? What does it mean to inherit a lineage that traces back to Solomon and the Queen of Sheba? And more intriguingly, what role does this sacred lineage play in the world's spiritual order? For students of the occult, the Kebra Nagast is a text that transcends conventional faith, exploring mystical power and the unseen forces moving creation. The presence of the Ark and Solomon's lineage suggests a connection between the earthly and spiritual that few texts achieve. Unlike conventional biblical books, which teach moral principles, the Kebra Nagast evokes the mystery of the sacred and challenges our understanding of divine secrets. It is a work that suggests that true spiritual power must be respected, for its full revelation could shake the very structure of the world. In the end, the Kebra Nagast leaves a provocative question. Is the world prepared to understand the magnitude of the secrets Ethiopia guards at its heart? This is the hidden promise of this text, an enigma resonating with an ancient truth, challenging those who dare to explore the mysteries of Solomon's lineage and the Ark of the Covenant. The Ethiopian Bible is not merely a book, it is a reliquary of mysteries, preserving within its words the spiritual essence of a people and the enduring strength of a tradition that refuses to fade. Guarded by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, this sacred work transcends religious faith, carrying with it the mystical energy of ancient times. Each page is revered as an extension of the sacred, and the texts it contains are valued not only for their content but for the way they speak, in an arcane language that often suggests more than can be grasped in a single reading. What other mysteries might lie hidden within this sacred text? Among the oldest manuscripts of the Ethiopian Bible is the Gospel of Garima, a lasting testimony to the faith and spiritual artistry of the Ethiopian people, which has survived through the centuries. This gospel is much more than a scripture, adorned with illuminations and symbolic figures. It assumes the form of a visual and spiritual artifact, as if each image held its own energy, meant to awaken something profound in those who behold it. Tradition holds that the monk Abba Garima, who created this manuscript, received a divine blessing that enabled him to complete it in a single day. This account, passed down through generations, leads us to wonder if this Bible is more than a text, a living talisman, a source of protection, and a symbol of spiritual resilience. The Ethiopian people's dedication to preserving the Ethiopian Bible demonstrates a commitment that goes beyond the physical. In times of crisis, conflict, and invasions, these texts were carefully hidden and protected as true sacred treasures. Stored in caves, buried under monasteries, or guarded in secret temples, the manuscripts were kept away from those lacking the respect or understanding to approach them. For the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, safeguarding these texts is a spiritual duty, a way to ensure that the power and wisdom contained within their words remain intact, preserving an unbroken connection to the divine. The Ethiopian Bible, with its pages full of arcane teachings, demands more than casual reading. It calls for reverence, comprehension, and profound spiritual openness, as each passage contains hidden layers of meaning, revealed only to those courageous enough to explore the unknown. Its words are often accompanied by figures and symbols that evoke an ancient wisdom, as if each detail were a key to deeper levels of understanding. This symbolism turns the study of the Ethiopian Bible into an intimate journey, where each verse is a discovery, and each chapter a door to be unlocked. The esoteric depth of these texts makes the Ethiopian Bible one of the most complex works of spirituality, challenging even the most seasoned scholars. Unlike Western Bibles, the Ethiopian Bible has not been adapted for modern comprehension. It preserves its archaic style in Guizi, a sacred and nearly forgotten language understood by few. This choice maintains a purity of intent, a restricted and reverent access to sacred knowledge, as if the text itself is surrounded by an aura that prevents superficial interpretation, requiring deep commitment to unravel. What is the purpose of such a singular demand for devotion? For those dedicated to studying Guizi, the Ethiopian Bible reveals fragments of a higher wisdom. Its texts require a pure heart and sincere intention, for this language holds expressions and structures that convey a spiritual and mystical perspective absent from Western translations. Guizi transforms the text into an ancient chant, with words resonating with the power of creation, reflecting the Ethiopian soul. Thus, the Ethiopian Bible remains a repository of secrets that, in its original form, reaches deeper dimensions of consciousness. The preservation of the Ethiopian Bible goes beyond physical protection. For the Ethiopian people, it is a way of safeguarding the invisible bond connecting past, present, and future of their faith. In ceremonies and rituals, these texts are read, recited, and sung as part of an oral tradition that keeps sacred teachings alive. This allows even those who cannot read to absorb the knowledge, connecting with the spiritual heritage of their land. This practice of oral transmission strengthens the people's faith and unity, ensuring that mystical knowledge endures even amid the constant changes of the world. The Ethiopian Bible is also a symbol of resistance. During the colonial period, it became a shield against external influences. While the outside world changed, the Ethiopian Orthodox Church remained faithful to its heritage, protecting these texts from attempts at cultural or spiritual colonization. For centuries, the Ethiopian Bible represented the independence of a tradition that refused to submit to empires or foreign dogmas, standing as a bastion of faith and a source of unshakable spiritual power. Each book of the Ethiopian Bible, studied in depth, keeps a spiritual tradition alive and reveals wisdom that transcends conventional faith. Those who venture into its pages find teachings that escape standard interpretations, leading to a broader understanding of human spirituality. More than a book, the Ethiopian Bible is an anchor of the sacred, a testament to divine presence on earth and to the covenant the Ethiopian people made with the Creator, upholding it as a pillar of their spiritual identity. For those who delve into its pages, the Ethiopian Bible is not a simple reading. It is an invocation. In its unique visual style, in its illuminations and ornamentations, each detail is a link between humanity and the divine. These illustrations, which make the book a mystical visual artifact, reveal a connection to the spiritual world that transcends the written word, making the study of the Ethiopian Bible an act of contemplation. It is as if each image can open portals to the divine, communicating truths that cannot be spoken but only felt. Who could truly interpret the depth of these sacred images? The Ethiopian Bible teaches us that the sacred need not be fully understood to be revered. It invites us to return to the essence of spirituality, to seek the mystery residing in silence, between the lines, and in symbols that defy human logic. Thus, this work transforms into a reliquary, a spiritual jewel that withstands the passage of time and stands firm against forces that seek to dilute the sacred. It is the mirror of the Ethiopian soul, reflecting the eternity of a faith that surpasses the physical and material. The Ethiopian Bible offers the world an essential lesson. True sacredness cannot be owned but only respected and preserved. This text transcends any religious concept, standing as an icon of resistance against oblivion, a reminder that true knowledge must be guarded in honor of the divine. For the Ethiopian people, this Bible represents the very spirit of creation, an ancestral voice echoing in the present, whispering that there are truths that cannot be fully understood, but which continue to guide those who seek the eternal. Guiz, the ancient language of the sacred texts in the Ethiopian Bible, is far more than a mere form of communication. It is seen as a spiritual language, a channel between human and divine. Considered sacred, Guiz carries within its words and sounds a vibration that transcends the material world, connecting those who speak it to the spiritual plane. Though it is no longer used in daily communication, it remains alive in the liturgies of the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, where the knowledge of each sound and the meaning of each letter is preserved as a spiritual legacy. The phonetics of Guiz itself are considered mystical. Scholars and occultists claim that the pronunciation of words in this ancient language possesses a unique resonance, as if it can open spiritual portals. The structure of Guiz closely resembles the language of the gods, with a frequency that enables humans to chant words of protection and invocation. Each sound, intonation, and rhythm is believed to have a specific effect on the mind, spirit, and even the surrounding reality, a skill mastered fully only by monks and spiritual guardians. Scholars of Guiz often remark that understanding the language reveals a new perception of the world. Unlike modern languages, which describe reality, Guiz seems to create reality through the words spoken. In the sacred texts, descriptions of the divine, the invisible, and the spirit have a vividness that seems to transport the reader to another dimension, as if the very act of reading becomes an experience of spiritual connection. What realities, then, might be revealed to the true knower of Guiz? For those dedicated to learning this language, the process is seen as a spiritual initiation. Understanding Guiz requires more than intellect. One must grasp its essence, its soul. Each letter carries a symbol, and each word holds a key to universal secrets. This language was carefully chosen to preserve sacred knowledge, and tradition holds that those who unlock its hidden meanings attain a form of revelation, a vision of the spiritual realm that transcends human logic. In Guiz, we find echoes of the esoteric traditions of ancient languages like Sanskrit and Hebrew, where each letter possesses mystical and vibrational significance. It is believed that reciting the sacred words in Guiz activates a series of resonances that connect the speaker to the spiritual world. This is why, in Ethiopian Orthodox Church liturgies, the Ethiopian Bible is read in Guiz, to maintain this living connection, as if each ceremony renews the covenant with the divine, where language is the link that unites the visible with the invisible. In the sacred texts written in Guiz, many meanings are indirect, almost as if the content were veiled by layers. For scholars of the Ethiopian Church, this serves to protect the secrets of the faith, allowing only those with dedication and patience to reach the true meaning of the words. It is said that the language of Guiz was shaped so that its deeper messages could only be understood by those with a pure heart and a spirit prepared for initiation. This layer of spiritual protection has earned Guiz the reputation of the language of the gods, accessible only to those ready for its revelations. By preserving Guiz in its archaic state, The Ethiopian Church ensures that ancient knowledge remains free from modern interference and adaptation. Sacred texts written in the purity of Guizi become immune to trivialization, serving as a sealed spiritual code that demands devotion and respect to be deciphered. Monks and guardians of the language consider this preservation a sacred duty, as if Guizi itself were an invisible reliquary where words hold the secrets of higher knowledge meant only for the initiated. In chants and prayers sung in Guizi, mystical energy flows intensely, filling temples with a unique atmosphere. The very sound experience becomes a tool for spiritual purification, and each word in the hymn seems to reach higher realms, connecting to the sacred. Some of the oldest chants in Guizi are sung as invocations of divine protection, while others open spiritual pathways, acting as vibrational portals. The impact of Guizi as a sacred language goes beyond the religious aspect. Those who study its mysticism describe a feeling of elevation, as if they were in contact with something transcendent. This experience is seen as purification, an awakening that connects the practitioner to the invisible energies of the universe. The practice of reading and chanting in Guizi is viewed as an alignment between mind and spirit, where the faithful vibrate in harmony with the sacred, strengthening their connection to divine forces. For the Ethiopian people, Guizi is a symbol of identity and spiritual strength, a reminder that this language was not created to describe the material world but to transcend it and connect with the eternal. Each reading and recitation in Guizi is a link between past and present, a direct line to ancestors and the Creator. Participants in Guizi rituals find themselves engaged in a profound spiritual communion, where the words are not merely spoken but experienced as expressions of faith. Thus, Guizi is more than just a language. It is a vibrational field, a spiritual instrument that strengthens the bond between human and divine. By chanting it, the faithful not only express their faith but also reinforce the spiritual field of the Ethiopian Church, keeping the link to the sacred alive and protecting the mysteries residing in each syllable. The continuity of this language is considered the key to Ethiopia's spiritual protection, a secret that, for Ethiopians, forms the very essence of their land's mystical power. Guizi remains a time-resistant enigma, a language created to preserve the sacred in its purest form. Regardless of the centuries that pass, Guizi continues to vibrate like an invisible cord between the visible and invisible, the human and the divine. This language is not merely a relic of a distant past. It is a language of power, a spiritual heritage that makes the Ethiopian people guardians of a wisdom transcending time and rooted in eternity. Ethiopia is not only a nation defined by deep faith, it is a land with a unique spiritual geography, filled with portals and power points. These sacred sites are believed to be located along power lines, mystical flows of energy that traverse the land, linking points of spiritual communion and divine protection. Many consider these places to be true spiritual vortices, where the boundaries between the physical and the spiritual become thin, and the connection with the divine intensifies. Aksum, a sacred city and one of Ethiopia's most revered locations, is one of these power points. According to tradition, it is where the Ark of the Covenant rests, guarded in secrecy by the Ethiopian Orthodox Church. If the Ark truly resides there, this sacred artifact transforms Aksum into an epicenter of spiritual energy. For many, the Ark's presence in Aksum not only protects Ethiopia but acts as a spiritual shield against external forces, echoing its power across the land and helping maintain the mystical balance of the region. However, Aksum is not the only place of power. The rock-hewn churches of Lalibela are another example of Ethiopia's spiritual geography. These underground churches are seen as portals to the divine, places where devotion and human labor merge with spirituality to create a sacred presence. Carved in the shape of a cross and connected by underground tunnels, Lalibela's churches are seen as reflections of heavenly dwellings, with each corridor representing a passage to higher dimensions. Throughout Ethiopia, there are stories of temples and churches built according to esoteric principles, forming an invisible network that protects the country. It is believed that these buildings follow an ancient tradition of astronomical and mystical alignment, creating a sacred pattern. This configuration allows each sacred site to be tuned to the divine, and together, these places create a field of spiritual protection. This network of power points is considered a means of channeling mystical energies that shield the nation against both visible and invisible threats. Ethiopia is also rich in sacred mountains, where hermits and monks retreat to reach higher levels of consciousness. Mount Zikwala, for example, is a site of pilgrimage and spiritual purification. Local legend claims that the very air surrounding the mountain is sacred, purified by the prayers and meditations of those who reside there. This atmosphere makes it an ideal environment for those seeking isolation and spiritual elevation. The energy of these places is intense and palpable, and those who meditate there say they achieve a closer connection with the Creator. These power points play a crucial role in preserving Ethiopian faith. For centuries, through invasions and conflicts, the arrangement of these locations has served to protect Ethiopian spirituality, acting as cultural refuges and spiritual fortresses. Each church, temple, and mountain has become a bastion of faith and national identity, where the essence of Ethiopian Christianity has been safeguarded and kept alive. For Ethiopians, these places are more than monuments. They are repositories of sacred energy that nourish the nation's soul. The placement of each sacred site is considered a spiritual and astronomical calculation, as if an invisible hand guided the construction of these power points. Many temples and monasteries were built in locations that elders claimed already had a spiritual presence. This ancestral knowledge, passed down orally through generations, ensures that the power points are preserved, maintaining the country's alignment with the cosmic and spiritual forces that protect its existence. Another site of intense spiritual power is Lake Tana, the source of the Blue Nile, where numerous islands host ancient churches and monasteries that safeguard sacred manuscripts said to contain secret teachings. The lake is regarded as a site of spiritual renewal, where monks dedicate their lives to devotion and contemplation. Lake Tana's waters are seen as purifying, and the monasteries on its islands as guardians of this power. Many pilgrims come to the lake seeking purification and blessings, believing that contact with its waters and the sacred ambience of the islands offers spiritual protection. These sacred sites in Ethiopia function as anchoring points to higher dimensions. According to some traditions, these places lie on spiritual vortices that channel the universe's energy to the earthly realm. It is as though they have the power to open invisible portals, connecting the physical world with the spiritual, allowing the divine presence to be tangibly experienced. Many believe that these power points, when revered and protected, ensure that Ethiopia remains connected to a higher dimension. These power points, however, are not accessible to everyone. Only those who approach with pure intentions and respect feel the full energy of these places. It is said that sacred sites have a field of protection that repels those with impure intentions, while strengthening those who seek divine connection. In specific rituals, the guardians of these temples and monasteries perform ceremonies of protection, ensuring that the mystical power of these sacred places remains intact and accessible only to those truly seeking spiritual communion. Preserving these sites is regarded as a spiritual duty. For monks and guardians of the faith, these power points are far more than sacred spaces. They are the living essence of Ethiopian Christianity. Each stone, relic, and altar is maintained with reverence, as if the spiritual integrity of Ethiopia depended on the preservation of these energies. It is believed that by safeguarding the sacred sites, the Ethiopian people keep alive their connection to the divine, shielding the country from negative influences and reinforcing the unity of their faith. Ethiopia's sacred sites symbolize a mystery that remains intact and, in many respects, still unexplored. For Ethiopians, these places are a refuge and a constant reminder that the sacred is ever present, and that the spiritual power of Ethiopian land is part of a cosmic order. Ethiopia's spiritual geography reminds us that there are unseen forces always at work, sustaining and protecting those who dedicate their lives to the sacred. Within the Ethiopian Bible, the Book of Jubilees stands out as one of the most enigmatic and fascinating texts, offering a unique perspective on time, creation, and the spiritual ages of humanity. Known as the Apocalypse of Moses, this book goes beyond a simple creation account. It presents a mystical calendar in which each period is interpreted as a spiritual era, a cycle containing revelations and lessons for those who seek to understand divine purpose. At its core, the Book of Jubilees is a map of sacred time, outlining the crucial events in human history to reveal humanity's destiny. The concept of Jubilees, periods of 49 years that give the book its name, is central to understanding its spiritual framework. According to the text, each Jubilee marks a new phase of creation and human history, where certain events are ordained to fulfill the divine plan. This division of time transforms the Book of Jubilees into a mystical guide, allowing its readers to comprehend the past, interpret the present, and perhaps anticipate the future. This approach makes the text one of the greatest mysteries of Ethiopian Christianity, suggesting that time is not linear but composed of cosmic cycles in which the sacred manifests repeatedly. The Book of Jubilees also provides a detailed chronology of biblical events, from creation to the arrival of the Israelites in the Promised Land. However, this chronology goes beyond a mere timeline. It is presented as a spiritual vision, where each historical event reflects higher realities. The narrative suggests that events in the physical world are manifestations of spiritual forces operating outside earthly time. This concept challenges a linear understanding of time, implying that past, present, and future are interconnected, with each era bringing its own lessons and spiritual challenges. One of the most intriguing aspects of the Book of Jubilees is how it reveals secrets about humanity's fate. Written as a direct revelation to Moses, the book addresses themes such as the fall of the angels, the rise of the Nephilim, and great cycles of purification, suggesting that the course of human history is governed by an immutable divine order. These revelations deepen in significance by indicating that Jubilees are part of a larger cosmic cycle, culminating in the end of days. In this sense, the book serves both as a warning and a spiritual preparation, encouraging its readers to prepare for the final unfolding of all things. For the Ethiopian people, the Book of Jubilees is more than a book of prophecies. It is a mirror of spiritual destiny, directly connecting them to divine time. Each era described in the Jubilees represents a phase in humanity's development, and the book itself is considered a guide to understanding the challenges and trials each generation faces. This cosmic cycle of ages and events proves that time is a sacred construct and that those who wish to truly understand divine purpose must seek the rhythm of the Jubilees. Another significant element in the Book of Jubilees is its emphasis on observing sacred practices and laws as essential aspects of the spiritual cycle. The text stresses the importance of the Sabbath, spiritual purity, and obedience to the commandments as requirements to maintain the bond between humanity and the divine. This mystical perspective suggests that the fate of the ages is influenced by human fidelity to these commandments, with each transgression generating consequences that reverberate through time. Religious practice thus becomes a tool of spiritual protection, aligning the faithful with the divine flow of time. The Book of Jubilees' prophecies about the end of days are both enigmatic and thought-provoking. According to the text, humanity will face great trials and periods of purification before the cosmic cycle reaches its climax. This apocalyptic vision, rich in symbolism, describes the destruction and renewal of the world, where the righteous will inherit a new creation and the wicked will be cast out. This perspective, foreseeing a new era of peace and harmony following final judgment, aligns with the visions of Isaiah and other Ethiopian prophets and is treated as a hidden truth, accessible only to those prepared to bear its weight. The Book of Jubilees also offers teachings on humanity's relationship with the natural world. According to the text, all of creation is part of the divine plan, and every element of nature is to be respected as part of a sacred order. This suggests that the material world is not merely the stage for human events, but an active participant in the cosmic cycle. It also implies that the way humans interact with nature influences the planet's spiritual balance and the progression of the Jubilees. For the Ethiopian people, this view inspires a deep reverence for the earth, seen as a divine gift. However, the Book of Jubilees reserves its deepest revelations for those who study its layers closely. For those seeking a simple calendar, the content may seem confusing or distant, but for the initiated, it offers keys to decoding the connection between the spiritual and earthly realms, revealing that time itself reflects divine purpose. This understanding makes the Book of Jubilees one of the most respected texts in Ethiopian tradition, seen as a source of wisdom that allows the faithful to comprehend their role within the cosmic cycle. For students of the occult, the Book of Jubilees is a relic of spiritual wisdom, a text that contains a map of divine time. Each era and cycle is seen as a manifestation of cosmic forces, and the book is understood as an ongoing prophecy, adapting and unfolding as the ages progress. For these scholars, understanding the Book of Jubilees is like deciphering a code revealing the very destiny of humanity, a knowledge that, if understood and applied, could transform the soul's journey through the ages. Preserving the Book of Jubilees within the Ethiopian Bible is of great importance. For the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, it is a tool of spiritual protection, a way to keep divine truth accessible to those who seek alignment with the cosmic cycle. By studying and following the teachings of the book, Ethiopian believers see themselves as part of a grand design, where each life, generation, and era plays an essential role in fulfilling divine destiny. The Book of Jubilees, filled with warnings and visions, invites deep reflection. Are we ready to comprehend the true meaning of time and the spiritual ages? Its pages serve as a reminder that time is more than a sequence of events. It is, in itself, a revelation where each era offers a new opportunity for understanding and redemption. The mystery of time, as described in the Book of Jubilees, remains an enigma, challenging those who dare to unravel the secrets of the cosmos. The Ethiopian Bible, with its ancient texts and enigmatic symbolism, transcends the limits of a simple sacred book. It is a spiritual treasure that holds, within its pages, hidden secrets and powerful revelations about the divine, humanity, and our own purpose. For the Ethiopian people, it is not merely a cultural heritage, but a reliquary of eternal mysteries that keeps the connection with the sacred alive in every page. Unlike Western versions, the Ethiopian Bible preserves books such as Enoch, Baruch, and the Ascension of Isaiah. Texts that challenge common understanding and reveal mystical and apocalyptic truths, offering a view of the world that transcends physical and spiritual boundaries. The preservation of these texts is an act of reverence and spiritual courage, reminding us that true knowledge lies not in what is easily understood, but in what challenges logic and eludes immediate comprehension. This work stands as a symbol of resistance to the trivialization of the sacred, a reminder that mystical knowledge does not reveal itself to all, but only to those with hearts and minds prepared to receive it. If you're interested in exploring more about spirituality, I've curated some videos just for you, filled with profound knowledge and fascinating discoveries. Just click on one to begin. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to continue on this journey of self-discovery and spiritual learning. Your commitment to knowledge is the first step in transforming your reality.